All right, last night before a joint session of Congress, President Trump laid out his vision for the next 4 years on the economy, tariffs, geopolitics, and more. Joining us now, Moelis & Company Vice Chairman Eric Cantor, who is the former House Majority Leader. Eric, so great to see you this morning. So many great questions for you. What did you make of the speech last night? And more importantly, for markets and companies and CEOs in the deal landscape, what was your takeaway?
Well, Robert, I think, it certainly was an extravaganza in the House of Representatives last night. I think the longest speech of any president to a joint session. So it certainly people got their fill. And I think certainly both sides, certainly my side, the Republicans, were very energized about the power with which Trump came in and sort of captivated the agenda and is unilaterally, I think, worldwide setting the discussion agenda. Interestingly, I was in Canada yesterday, of all days, in Toronto, and
behind enemy lines, I guess.
Right. Listen, I do think their reaction is what I think President Trump wants. I mean, he has now, I think, reset sort of the discussion around working people in this country, and unlike Trump 1.0. Where, I think it was he would himself mention the markets, the equities markets. And I think now I'm not so sure that that's going to be the day-to-day gauge for what he's doing. So
well, we saw Scott Bessent in an interview yesterday make that point explicitly, saying we care about Main Street this time. Wall Street will do fine, or maybe they won't, but we are the Main Street. Do you think investors should be concerned about that? Because we could have days like yesterday where tariffs disrupt markets, but the administration doesn't respond to that.
Well, look, I can tell you, Moelis, our clients certainly are taking all this in. There's a lot coming in every hour right now with the Trump administration. But I think the direction that people are witnessing is one of deregulation and one of tax reduction, or at least no tax increases.
Right.
And those are two really big inputs to an individual, whether in the C-suite or on a board, when they're thinking about doing an M&A transaction or doing something in the financing markets. And again, that's sort of the business that we focus on.
Just be a function of timing, where we're seeing the bad stuff first. We're seeing the tariffs, the immigration, the job cuts, things that companies really don't like to see or that could jeopardize the economy. The good stuff, the deregulation and the tax cuts, are probably going to be a third, fourth quarter event, or even in the years to come. What do you see from CEOs right now on deals? Leslie Picker was just saying that M&A is down 15% the first 2 months, just the first 2 months. But IPOs, deals, does the pipeline reflect the optimism that you're saying, or are people sort of saying there's not enough predictability right now to press the button and say,
listen,
we want to do
compared to the lows where we were at over the last couple of years in the M&A world, we certainly are seeing a lot more dialogue and a lot more willingness, because you have other sort of inputs going into the decision as to whether to pull a trigger on a transaction and a process. Certainly in the sponsor community, there are other sort of dynamics at work, which are pressing sort of sponsors to step up and say, hey, we want to go ahead and engage in a process now. Listen, financing's available. The equities markets, as we can see, have certainly been moving, but in relative terms, more constructive. And so that, plus you've got sort of this technological innovation with AI and the extreme investment in infrastructure. I mean, these are all the things that sort of go into a decision-making on the part of a CEO in a strategic or in a sponsor situation. So, again, I think directionally, if you look at what's going on in Washington from the Trump administration, deregulation, tax cuts. Now, look, we've got 9 days, and there may be a big to-do next Friday, because that's the cutoff of the spending bill. And if you think about the speech last night, he didn't do anything to sort of reach out to the other side and say, hey, I need your help on this, because he'll need Democratic support to get that spending bill passed next week.
On that point, I mean, as a former leader in the House, how do you feel about members not necessarily standing up and saying that DOGE is kind of stealing the power of the purse, they're impounding funds, and this is going to be the contentious issue, right? Democrats say, you cannot just withhold money that's been authorized by Congress.
Well, again, they've not done that yet. And certainly there's been a record-setting number of court challenges to what Elon Musk and DOGE are doing. And the courts have come down on both sides, because I do think some of what DOGE is about is certainly consistent with what other presidents have done. There's some in the gray area where the courts are stepping in and opining, even against the administration in some instances. And there are some in which the executive orders have gone way too far, and I think it's purposeful because the president wants to reverse a precedent that may be established, and one of those is impoundment. Yeah. We haven't gotten there yet, and I can't imagine a court undoing the power of the purse coming from the Congress, because that's the foundation of the separation of powers.
The president can imagine it.
Right. So, but again, this is, I think, what I think the country over the last 10 years has gotten to know about Donald Trump. He's a business guy. He's a real estate mogul from New York City. I mean, just push. We're going to go to the limit until he's told he can't. So.
All right, Eric, thanks so much. I was curious a little bit just about your perspective on this current policy baseline where they're going to use the magic of accounting to get rid of the $4 trillion. Would you have supported that when you were in the House?
Oh, listen, this has been an age-old discussion about whether it's current policy or current law. Well, I mean, it's you'll have some real budget hawks in the House, because there are some left that will really, really make this an issue, because I don't think you can hide this from being a real issue. The bond markets are not going to let you.
That's where I think it's going to catch up with.
Right. The bond markets are not going to let you hide this.
Yeah.
And so we'll have to see how that's the reconciliation discussion, though. And as Robert, as you rightfully say, I think this is definitely a second half towards the end kind of resolution year. So we're not getting to that yet. First, we've got to get over next week. And I think the markets haven't yet begun to look to next week. We could very well have a shutdown. Because you haven't seen the Democratic Party step up with an ask.
Yeah.
You know, that's really where I see either there's political malfeasance unfolding, or they're going to spring something next week that will galvanize their side, because that's usually how it works. They don't even have an ask right now.